whatever we call this show, Filmmaker IQ Live. Hopefully everything's working in control. Let me know how the audio is coming through here. What is up? So if you guys are probably, I don't know if you guys are tired of hearing about Top Gun Maverick. I think everybody's talking about it, right? As far as movies and are concerned. Let me take a drink of water. I should have done more of this before I got online. Yeah, well, this is what it is. So I saw Top Gun on Monday. So that was Memorial Day here in the United States. And so I'll give you here's my take on it. So I'll be honest, for the first half of the movie, I thought this is good, but it's not great. Like it's an okay. It's humming along nicely. And then the third act started. And if you guys have seen the movie, and I mean, come on, you can't really spoil the movie because everything you know about Top Gun, everything you know about action movies, it happens. You know, Chekhov's gun is definitely there. Everything is there. But that third act, like when they actually went on the mission to do what they were supposed to do, they were training to do the entire film, that ending was like put me over the edge as far as like how like really really good the film is. Like that was it. Let me make sure my captions are make sure my chats are. I'm not saying you guys aren't chatting yet. Usually you see some chats. Let's see if we have any unlist live. Sure, why not? No, I don't unlist it. Make sure everything's running there. There you are. Let's see some chats coming through there. Let's make sure that we're running here. Oh, I lost my chat window. Dang it. Hope I didn't stop streaming. That would be bad. Let's see here. Lives. I know I'm kind of. If you guys are still, there I am. I'm still live. Oops, I think I am. Sorry, you guys are dealing with this while I'm struggling about trying to get the stream back. My little control panel back here. Let's see here. How do I get over there? Is it analytics? Nope. You can just click on it. Nope. Where is it? I'm streaming. I don't know what's going on here. I'm lost. I'm totally lost here. I just dropped out here. Let me see if I go live. Well, while I'm trying to figure this out, I was talking about that third act. Like that third act is so damn good that it kind of like. There we go. There we're sitting. There's Rick. How you doing, Rick? Thanks for the super chat. I'm still live. There I am. Yeah. Let me just make sure everything's working over here. That third act is so damn good. And I think it's worth the price of admission just to get to that part of it. Now, everything else is fine. I mean, I didn't love everything else, but I liked it. But that third act I really loved because it was so well done. It was so well edited and exciting, and just everything was done so well. There's a couple shots in there, and you know, as a filmmaker, you're looking at like, wow, the amount of time that they spent to do this. There's one shot in there that can't be more than like maybe 18 frames where it's a waterfall. It's this beautiful like aerial shot of a waterfall, and the jet just comes by and just buzzes the waterfall. It's gorgeous. It's so freaking gorgeous, and it's like 20 frames, and it's the middle of all this other stuff going on, and it's just really really cool. Yes, Harry Henry says Top Gun isn't my thing, but I'm glad people who love it. I mean, I can kind of get behind that. Like Top Gun, I've always enjoyed sort of ironically as a cultural artifact. You know, the 80s, it's very 80s, very Tony Scott, very highway to the danger zone, right? So I always enjoy. I think this sequel, works better than the original. I think I've heard that other people say that, and I think I'm probably going to chime in and agree with them. That the original you kind of enjoyed ironically. This one feels a little more grounded as far as a story to tell. It doesn't make the mistake a lot of sequels, and this has been bandied about too. It doesn't make the mistake a lot of sequels do and try to make the story dark or try to go veer way off or try to recreate the original one like beat by beat. It's got a different flavor. It's got a different appeal to it. Although it is basically, if you wanted to, it is the final mission is Star Wars. It's a New Hope. It's literally we have to bomb this exhaust port, which is 2 meters wide. Well, that's no problem. We used to bullseye womp rats back on Tatooine. You almost expected that to happen. I mean, my friend who was sitting, I had two friends that we went with, and one of them was more of who works as a filmmaker himself at a casino. I think he chuckled when we saw that little portion about you have to hit this bullseye within two exhaust port, basically. Excuse me. Yeah. Harry Henry says, I'm amazed that a film like this is such a big hit. Revivals like this haven't always knocked it out of the park in terms of box office, even with the pandemic. Well, I think I think a lot of people are giving credit to Tom Cruise and kind of this has been said over and over again that he's the last like traditional Hollywood like action hero. I wouldn't go so far as to say he's the last action hero. I think there are some other actors that still have that status, that still can have that gravitas and have that charisma that brings to the screen, that you can bring to the screen. I don't think Tom Cruise is it. However, I think he has been. I think this is kind of not undeniable, but this is something that a lot of people have noticed, that he has built a team around him that is very, very oriented in the way that like Christopher Nolan is oriented in a certain style and certain dedication to film. Tom Cruise has his own team that's very dedicated to a certain type of action film. And another example is Robert Eggers. Eggers is a very, very determined style of his films as well, but obviously in a completely other direction. But I think that Top Gun Maverick is shaping up to be a very enjoyable movie. It's not going to beat my favorite movie of 2022 so far. I mean, that's going to be hard to beat. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I'm going to keep touting that movie until all of you have seen it. All of you have seen it. I remember thinking to do Jurassic World numbers, but it didn't. Yeah, I don't. The thing with Jurassic World is I think Jurassic World is sort of overstayed its welcome. Now I have a friend. It's really more a friend of a friend who's a diehard like dinosaur person. It's a girl. She just loves dinosaurs. Can name every single one. Plays that Ark game, and I think of all of us, she's the only person that's excited about Jurassic World. But Rio Produra says it's time for an Italian Job movie with EVs. A bunch of Teslas running around. I mean, to be fair, EVs have some really good acceleration numbers, so you can actually probably make a really cool movie with EVs. Some Fast and Furious, style EV, just and you like. But the problem is you don't necessarily see it in the movie theater because EVs are so quiet. It's like, whoa, that was fast. You don't hear the to add all that crap. Good point there. Even Ghostbusters Afterlife, as good as it was, only did slightly better than the infamous 2016 reboot. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think I was interested in seeing it, but I never got around to it. And I read reviews that weren't particularly great about it. So I just kind of like stuck it out and avoided it. There you go. I like this Rio points. A good tagline for the new Fast and Furious with EVs. Fast and Furious, time to recharge. Oh, there you go. That's a good point. You guys are bringing up great points. Silvo says the problem with EV getaway cars is range. You gotta get that long range model. I think it goes like 300. The Tesla 350 miles, 400 miles. See, I'm kind of a dweeb in that. Like, I was looking at the Tesla. I'm thinking, like, well, I have a Camry. I have a Toyota Camry '97, so it's an old vehicle. Like, it's old enough to rent its own car. What is it? 97? That's 20. Yeah, that's 25 years old. Now it can rent. My car is old enough to rent its own car. right? And it's leaking something, and I don't know what the hell it's leaking, and it still drives. It's fine. Still works. So it's got closing in on 300,000 miles. I was thinking about maybe getting a new vehicle, but I was looking at the Teslas, and honestly, I have this in my head. I'm like, I want to be able to get up to Vegas in one charge. If that to me is like the limit. I can't go less than that. I have to get to Vegas. And for me to get to Vegas is about 270 miles, or something like that. Somewhere in that range. And there's only like a couple EVs that can do that in one charge. Because it's like, I don't want to get stuck in the middle of the desert. That's scary. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if EV is necessarily going to be in my... Now, again, my Camry gets about 400, close to 400 miles per tank fill-up. And tank fill-up is costing me now here in California about $87, $90. So it's a boner. I get about 25 miles a gallon, I think. Something like that. So it's not bad mileage. But but it's all paid off. It was my dad's car, and I've had it since '99. Or I've had it, but my dad had it since '99. He bought it used, so what's the point of getting a new car? So Top Gun Maverick, would I recommend it? Yeah, I mean, if you've been around long, if you've been online, you probably saw good reviews. I'm not going to add anything particularly different, other than the fact that I say, like, I thought the first half was okay. It wasn't special to me, but that last half is worth the price of admission alone. Like, you can kind of sneak in halfway through if you want. I mean, that last sequence. Some of you won't obviously have the emotional buildup, the drive of that last half, but yeah, that last half was really good, really good. Danger Zone, Highway 2, exactly. So that's my take on Top Gun Maverick. I mean, we can talk more about it, but I don't want to necessarily get into details. Have you guys seen it all? Have anybody in the chat have seen the film? Yeah, Harry Henry says it's interesting seeing Miles Teller return. He kind of disappeared for a few years after that. Well, no, he did Whiplash. I think Whiplash was after Fantastic Four. I think Whiplash was kind of like his big comeback after Fantastic Four. Am I right in that chronological order? I'm not sure. If you want to watch a fighter jet movie, watch Final Conflict. Okay, we'll have to check that one out. Final Conflict. Still, some of us have not seen Goonies. You're looking at one of them that has not seen Goonies. That's me. I have not seen Goonies. We probably should make it one of those things where it's Filmmaker IQ makes John's friends make John watch Goonies. We can watch it on my big screen TV at home. Oh, Whiplash was before Fantastic Four. Okay, then maybe I got that timeline mixed up. Multiple timelines, multiple universes. Yeah, no, I think when you have a good film like Whiplash, and then you do a crappy film, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know quite the politics of Hollywood, but I think if you do that, especially because Final Four is it's a studio film, I think you can be forgiven, right? like last week we were talking about Thomas Hayden Church, because he did Sideways, and everyone loves Sideways. I think Thomas Hayden Church must have won an award he won some sort of awards for his performance. And he did Spider-Man 3, which he was terrible in. And honestly, it's true. That's the last I heard of Thomas Hayden Church for a long time. So I don't know. Maybe you can't come back from a studio movie. Or maybe you get used to the money, or maybe the money's so good you don't want to come back. I don't know. Who knows? I used to like Robotech. Good to know. I don't know what Robotech is necessarily. If I haven't seen Goonies, you should engage in self-flagellation. Admonish me. Harry Henry says, EVs are rad, but they only work if there's also good public transportation to go along with it. They can't be a full substitute for cars. Yeah, I think so. As I guess for in California at least, there are enough EV charging stations that you can probably hop from one station to the next station. You'd be pretty okay to do that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I love my e-bike. Like my e-bike is, if I could do my e-bike all the time, I think it would probably be better. So right now they're finishing up the portion of a bike trail from my house to get to here, my studio, where if they finish this portion which goes underneath the freeway, that's the hardest, the scariest part about riding a bike from my home to here to my office would be going over the freeway, because there's no bike lanes, there's nothing going over the freeway, so you have to go like over the overpass. They're actually working on the bike trail that would go under the overpass, or under the freeway. And if that happens, then I can basically take a bike trail from my house to here. About 95% of the way is strictly bike trail reserved for bikes. I can't wait for that to be open. I think it opens next year, or at least late this year. So, ooh, that's gonna be fun. And my e-bike is like, my e-bike. Well, my e-bike is sort of a real cheating bike, because I bought an e-bike at the beginning of the pandemic, like a cheap one, and then I ended up buying a more expensive one. I thought was a little bit more upscale, and unfortunately, you don't get a whole lot of exercise. If you want to be lazy, you can literally just sit there and just go vroom, and you can kind of pedal along, but you're not really working. But you can get to about 30 miles an hour on that thing. Now, I'm sure there's going to be laws that say you can't go 30 miles on a bike trail, which is fine. I'll go 10 miles an hour. That's fine. But yeah, you can get that pretty dang fast. Rick says, I love the Robotech Galactic Soap Opera. Okay, so that's what I didn't know what that was. I'll have to check that one out. Pedro says, some people say all Fantastic Four films were made just to keep the license, something on the contract. That's why they all suck. Yeah, maybe. That's what Sony was doing with like certain they did with the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, right? They really didn't have to, but in order to hold on to that license, they needed to do it, I guess. And it always, you always wonder like the amount of money. So that's the thing. The thing with a movie like Top Gun Maverick, right? And I was telling my friend too that it's amazing. The first movie to ever win an Oscar was in 1927. You guys know what movie that was? It's a Howard Hughes production. That's my first hint. Clara Bow was in it. Does anyone else take a guess out there? I'll give the chat a time to chime in here. Let's see. Anybody knows the very first movie to win an Oscar? Well, I drink my water. Now, I see all you guys are probably Googling it. That's not fair. That's not fun. Yep, there it is. Pedro's got it, and Charles Hoffman also got it. It's Wings. Yep, Howard Hughes, I believe, right? Was his. So, 1927 to now, where we are in 2022. It's amazing how much has been accomplished as far as the technology to create a film about flying airplanes. I mean, it's amazing. But I think the thing about Top Gun Maverick is it can't really doesn't really inform us very much, us plebs on the ground, as far as how to make movies. Like that movie is basically Hollywood burning money. Like, I mean, flying a fighter jet is basically taking a bunch of money and just setting it on fire. Like the amount of money it costs to run, the cost of the jet fuel, the cost of I don't know exactly. I think it's like it's got to be hundreds of thousands of dollars per like flight, if not millions, right? It's literally you're just setting money on fire. So like, and then I was listening to some stories about how they shot Top Gun Maverick, and they're saying they would shoot like 800 hours of footage. There's like 800 hours of footage. Often they would go up there and they'd shoot, because the director you couldn't be in the cockpit, so the cockpit had like 6 or 7, I don't know, maybe it wasn't that, 5 or 6 at least, cameras. There's Sony Venice cameras, which have a detachable sensor. So you can mount the sensor basically anywhere and then run the wires to a brain somewhere that records it on, digitally. So they would mount these things all over the cabin. And the actors would go up, they would just teach the actors, okay, when you're ready to record, hit the record button. and then we're going to do your scene. And they would go up there and they shoot a whole day, and then Miles Teller even says that at one point he accidentally like erased the footage on his take. He actually erased it by mistake. But they would go up there, shoot, and it's like, well, we only got 15 seconds worth of usable footage. Well, that's a day. Like, no possible indie production could do that. Like, you can only do that if you're freaking Tom Cruise and you can just burn money, which is what they did. Just totally burn money. Anyhow, that's what I was thinking of. So, Top Gun and Maverick, although it's really cool, it's like it's a level of production and filmmaking that we really can't achieve. You know, because I know right now there's a lot of talk about how they did a lot of effects practically, and that's great. You know, if you had the money, if you can burn money like that, then seeing all those practical effects and seeing the real airplanes flying through the sky, and I was telling my friend like if it was a Harry Potter CGI movie, you'd have like the airplane, and then you'd have a beautiful sweeping shot around the airplane, and then you would go inside the cockpit and you would see this guy's face all in one continuous smooth motion. And that's what we're all sick and tired of. That's that phony CGI, amazing, impossible to do shot. Instead, what we want to see is really, the plane going by, but the camera just trying to track it frantically. Like, that's way more exciting than this beautiful, long take. Anyhow, so I would say, like, as much as we do think that the practical effects are great, because they are great, let's not demonize CGI, because I think CGI can be used, especially for the independent filmmaker, and that's why I go back to like Everything Everywhere All at Once. And there's some stories about that film where there's the entire VFX team was 5 dudes. There might have been a girl. I think it was 5 guys though. So 5 people, right? I won't gender them. 5 people on the entire VFX team, and they put together this thing. And then that's, to me, is a much more like inspirational and aspirational thing to think about. Just 5 dudes made this movie. 5 dudes made the VFX for that movie. Anyhow, does old Tom do the movie stunts by his own? That's why the question I was wondering about that was, did they have like a fighter? Because I imagine these planes are 2-seaters, so they must have had the guy in the back was really the one flying, and the actors just kind of reacting to it. That's what I'm thinking, how they shot it. I saw Wings a while back. Honestly, really enjoyed it. Yeah, surprisingly modern. The show just how sophisticated silent films had got. Yeah, especially back, 1927 is kind of the end of the silent era, and that was really kind of when it was super primed. And Clara Bow is super cute. And there's a little bit of nudity in that film. A little bit of nudity in 1927's Clara Bow. On Wings, I'd like to know if it was made as if it's showed on The Aviator, where their whole productions that go the other place and go to the other place with clouds. I butchered reading your comment there. I think The Aviator is pretty accurate as far as how they shot it. I mean, I don't think Scorsese would go too far off of the reality as far as filmmaking, because Scorsese's kind of a filmmaker and kind of nut. Oh, there you go. I liked Tom Cruise in that movie. Collateral, is that the name of the movie? Where he's a killer, had to kidnap Jamie Foxx. I think Tom Cruise, look, he might leading quite a crazy life. The Scientology angle, yeah, I know. He is kind of, but damn, his films are not bad. What was the other one I watched? I didn't watch it too recently. What's the last few? It was like Mission Impossible's obviously. Mission Impossible, the last one was pretty good. I mean, that's the reason why Superman had to CGI lip, because of that movie. And, well, I don't know. Zack Snyder's Justice League probably revived Justice League in my memory, at least. Okay, anyhow. I love the part of the character where Pete Maverick Mitchell says, "But not today. Today is Morbin time." I don't quite understand what the meme of the Morbin time is. I think it was Morbius, right? That's hilarious. Thank you. That was great, Arseny. And turned into a giant bat and flew away. Truly a masterpiece. Your day's up, Maverick. No one wants a rebel. Nah, not today. It's Morbin time. All right. Charles says they may have been burning money, but I can really see where it went in Maverick. Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, I mean, at least they're not burning money by like, hiring, hiring the worst production team or hiring actors based on who they knew or whether they would do stuff to you. And yeah, Arseny says disagree. There should be much less CGI. So I don't agree with that because the thing you gotta remember, it's like as a small time filmmaker, as someone who doesn't have money to burn, like CGI is the equalizer. So like, and it's really funny because it's ironic how the whole filmmaking world is sort of a bunch of hypocritical beliefs, right? But CGI enables me to do things that I couldn't do if I had to actually pay for those things. Like set extensions are one, like you can shoot a lot of green screen that way. There's elements you can do in CG that you just can't do. And obviously Top Gun has a lot of CGI in it. Let's not kid ourselves that there's a tremendous amount of CGI in Top Gun. It's just there's some things that are real, at least the big things are real. Same thing happened with like Mad Max Fury Road, where Mad Max Fury Road is largely practical, but there's a lot of CGI that goes into the practical stuff. So I think I always try to remind people that you can't. The conversation is not really CGI good, CGI bad. No, CGI is a tool. It's just like depth of field. Like for a while, people were getting so insanely shallow depth of field that they would get your tip of your nose in focus, but your eyes would be out of focus, like way out of focus. Depth of field is a tool. It's like CGI is a tool. Anyhow, unless you guys want to talk more about it, it's like that's a conversation I think it's been done to death. Okay, so I personally believe that Top Gun Maverick should get nominated for and win Best Picture of the Oscars. I would, at this point, for the movies I've seen, I would give it to Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that's a more deserving movie than Top Gun. Top Gun is good, but it's not. It's classic summer popcorn movie in its absolute best form. It's in that sense it is really good, but it's not Oscar-winning movie. And I'm talking about Oscar-winning movie even going back to like the 90s when the Oscars still had a chance at cultural relevance. Like today's Oscar there's zero cultural relevance. Like I literally cannot remember what movie won last year. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to rack my brain what movie won. I can't do it. Sorry. I can't even do it. So, it's the best movie I've seen in the past few years. I can't wait to see it again on IMAX. Oh, cool. Good to have fun with that. I saw it on a regular 2D screen, or regular movie screen. I thought that was really good. A friend of mine was asking, like, well, we should see it in the 4X, called 4X. I think I talked about when I saw Spider-Man in 4X, and I really thought it was just distracting. It was just like, distracting. Anyhow, 4X, by the way, if you don't know what 4X is, basically they take the movie theater and they clear everything off the walls. And then they have extra projectors that project extra stuff. So you have your regular composition frame, and then they project more stuff on the side of the walls. So you get that sense of you're being immersed. But it's not really like an IMAX screen that kind of folds around you. It's sort of cheap. It's sort of like the closest thing I would make it to, like if you had an LED TV at home that had like lights that would in the back that would change your room different colors based on what was on the screen. It's something like that. There are certain scenes where they do extend the scenery to the peripheral view, but the registration's not perfect. So it's like I can kind of see where the lines are, as far as where the screen ends and where the side stuff begins. And then it's like some weird FOV distortion. I mean, it's literally Scorsese's sitting, on the back of my shoulder like, this is a theme park ride. This is a theme park ride, John. You're not watching a movie. This is a theme park ride. So, yeah, 4X is not... That's my opinion on 4X. But IMAX is different. IMAX is a totally different thing. Anyhow, let's go on to your... According to Scientology, levels ranks Tom Cruise already can fly by himself. Rick H. says technology has brought techniques that were once millions of dollars into the hands of independent filmmakers. Unreal Engine 5, Blender, GIMP, DaVinci Resolve, all free and great tools. So one of the jobs I do, and I'm pretty sure I'm still doing it, is I work for a city, and just look at drones. At the time I spent like $1,800 for my drone. In 10 years ago, in order to get those shots, we'd have to rent a helicopter. And it'd be like, at least $800, $1,200 just to get a helicopter. I mean, that's like if you know somebody and they're willing to just take you up for nothing. But it's, just look at drones. Like we can do so much with even regular home drones, small light craft. We can get these amazing aerial footage that would have cost, hundreds of thousands of dollars a long time ago. So it's cool. Let's see. Morbin Time is a new Rick roll. Nice. It's Mighty Morbin Time. Val Kilmer scene was really good, and it could have been so bad. Yeah, I agree. That was a pretty... I don't know anything about what Val Kilmer is going through, but it was nice to see him in the movie, and it felt really respectful how they treated him. So, Top Secret, Top Gun and Top Secret. That's the one, is that the Mel Brooks film, Top Secret? That's a good movie. That's an underappreciated movie. If you haven't seen Top Secret, I believe that's the name of the movie, right? By Mel Brooks. It's the one he made after, No, not Mel Brooks. Take that back, John. Whoopsh. It's the Zucker Brothers. Not Zucker Brothers. Zucker Brothers, the guys that made Airplane. It's the movie they made after Airplane. Was Top Secret. Val Kilmer was in that too. What might have been Val Kilmer's one of his earlier roles. Have you seen Ian Herbert's Dynamo Dream? Nope, I haven't seen it. Astonishing new command of Blender VFX by just one person. Cool. I'll tell you my personal opinion about, because people will say CGI is horrible, and then basically everyone gets excited when somebody makes a Blender movie in Blender VFX. The other thing, the hypocritical thing, I think I remember, people used to get so annoyed with George Lucas and his green screen set extensions that went on forever. The whole meme was like, this is Star Wars episode 4 through 6 was like an actual set, and here's George Lucas, Star Wars, the next George Lucas just sitting on a green screen, right? But then I think the filmmaking community got super excited about virtual sets. Like what I have behind me, which is a poor man's virtual set, right? And it's like, no, like that's not much better than green screen. I mean, green screen is more sterile. You can't look around and see your surroundings. But virtual sets are not like holodecks. They're not like all of a sudden you walk on and everything just... There's a lot of technology involved with virtual sets. Like you have to get the camera, like the actual set is its shot, but then you have to actually compensate for the camera. So really proper virtual production will have like a system on the camera that's monitoring its angle of view and all that stuff, its position. So it's compensating for that behind the actor. So, it's another tool, but it's not a tool that's like, oh, I'm going to, set this up in my basement. I guess you could, but whatever. Anyhow, I'm just babbling at this point. There you go. Charles Hoffman says, for helicopter rental, $1,200 would just about pay for the time it takes to tell you that you can't afford to rent a helicopter. Yeah. I mean, I never personally rented. I was just kind of going for a rough ballpark, but I imagine even $700, $800 would be like if it was my buddy and he would fly me for $700. I don't think, $1,200 probably could, even $1,200 would be like, you want what? He's like, I just want a shot of this new parking structure they just built. No, not for that. But now I can just get in a drone and just zzz, take a shot, zzz, come back down. You're done. That's technology. That's wonderful. Oh, there you go. I have a friend who works for commercials for BMW and Mercedes and uses a drone for all his aerial shots. Yep. Yeah. Those car ads though, those are so gorgeous. I used to be so my first job in the industry, so-called industry, was I was an intern at a cable company, and I would be the ones that would, I would do like the grunt work and do like attach a slate. If you don't know what slate is, basically a title card at the beginning of a commercial. And we had a specific way we did it where we had to have a slate for 5 seconds and black for 5 seconds, and then the commercial, and be preceded by 30 seconds of bars and tone. And they'd have me like design the slates and write down the stuff. But I would always get the footage. So all the car dealers, all the car manufacturers all have, high end. They pay for high end production, video production of all their newest vehicles, and they would send out these tapes to all the car dealers because you wanted to make a commercial like, "Hey, come on down to Gosh Ford, we got a brand new." In that time, 2003 Ford Taurus, and they would show you, instead of showing you the crappy car in the lot, they'd show you this factory footage they shot. I was kind of liked looking at the factory footage because it was all just B-roll of all these cars, and I was just amazed by how beautiful the shots were. I mean, I still like watching corporate like high-end B-roll stuff because I always want to aspire to make stuff like that. At least when I make stuff for clients. Like yesterday, I shot some photography for a friend I've been known forever, and I do a lot of the student of the month with her. And her family owns this one diner, and we went and shot a bunch of their food. And I was trying to make it as good looking as I possibly. I think I did a pretty okay job, but it's like. They wanted me to shoot it on white isolated on white plates, make it kind of so they could graphically insert anything. And like that doesn't make for really sexy photo shoots. It makes you. I'm making like just stuff that they can use for other graphical purposes. But I wanted to make it kind of sexy, super sexy food shots. But you can't because the job requires you to shoot on isolated white and all that stuff. Anyhow, I'm skipping by all the comments here. Let's see here. Let's go back. I'm gonna go back. Try to get to your comments here. About Morbid Time, how does Jared Leto keep getting roles despite being I don't know. I mean, you gotta ask Jared Leto's agent. Maybe Jared Leto knows dark hidden secrets about people in Hollywood. I don't know. He doesn't seem to be. I haven't seen House of Gucci, but apparently he is really, really bad in that movie. So I want to see House of Gucci, and I do like Lady Gaga, so I'll see it eventually. I think it's on HBO Max. I enjoyed Top Secret. Kilmer was hilarious. The use of Sheen as hot shots, and Paul Pardue was good though. Yeah, the favorite part about Top Secret is there's a shot. It's a typical like 2-in-1 shot. It's like a phone. Right? And it's like really close to the camera like that. And it looks like a perspective shot. But then the guy comes up to the phone and it's just this giant phone. He's like, hello. It's like such an amazing gag. Like it costs like hundreds of dollars probably to make that phone. It's like for 1 5-second gag. That's the great thing about like Airplane and movies like that and Top Secret. Was they would just, they'd spend the money to make a stupid prop and it would be on screen for like 5 seconds and it's over. And you just gotta think, like, man, that I wonder where that phone is now. If somebody has it in their garage or something. I just got here. Please repeat everything. Okay, let's see here. How do we do? We started talking about Top Gun, and I told you the secret of the universe and life and everything in it, and then we talked about Top Gun some more. I remember reading about 70 psychedelic indie films where they blew half of its budget on the aerial shot. I thought you were gonna say blew half their budget on like cocaine. Yeah, I can imagine so. Hey, Charles has got the same agreement here. Drones and CGI are both examples of technology serving as an equalizer for cash-strapped creators. Yeah, I think the problem is not necessarily that CGI is bad. It's just when you have so much money, you know, like this is something that people don't understand that aren't in the creative field. That limitations really drive creativity. Like, that's where you get the most creative is that when you can't do something, so you figure out a way to get around it. So that's why people often say, like the production code was good because it forced filmmakers to be, more discreet in how they portrayed certain topics and certain subject matters. Same thing happens when like independent film. That's why you can think a lot of independent films tend to be a lot more creative because they can't afford to do all this stuff. That's the problem when you have a big budget. It's like, well, I want to do this, and if you were an indie film, they say, well, you can't really do that because it costs too much. And in a big Hollywood film, they say, oh, sure, here, write a check, here, do it. And there's no they can look at it and say, well, they can adjust it, but there's no that restriction is not there to kind of keep you from going off the rails. And so at that point, really, the only thing to keep you off the rails is basically to have some people in charge that are just insanely detail oriented. Because anything can be done, they have to be, something like like a Christopher Nolan, like go back to Tom Cruise, his team that works with him, people that have that are very demanding, very singularly focused on a certain project. It's so easy at that point. I imagine just write another check. Just write another check for to fix it in post. Fix it in post. Anyhow. Yep, Cal Worthington is dog Spot. Yep, that's those old commercials. Have you seen Better Call Saul? I have not gotten myself into the whole Breaking Bad universe yet. Yep, very important. Pepe says it's Morbin time. Yet again, we are back on the Morbin. The Morbin. Allegations. Is it time for Depp and Johnny Hurd? I just watched the jury thing. I haven't gone down that whole rabbit hole yet. I mean, I've been kind of loosely keeping tabs on what the hell's going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I mean, I think the general consensus among all people, I think most people, is that Amber Heard is a train wreck, and Johnny Depp should have stayed well far away from her. But I understand that the jury did find that she did actually defame him, met the standard of defamation, and she did have one thing that she actually won on. She was being awarded $2 million, but Johnny Depp is being awarded like $10 million, so it balances out. So she really lost in the long run. Amber Heard, like, I think as far as PR goes, like she got fried. She's not bouncing back. Johnny Depp, I think, will be fine. I think Johnny Depp will probably be able to probably be able to bounce back from that. I think Depp versus Heard story might be approval of a second season of Feud. Nice. Okay. All right, let's see. Is it really 42, John? I don't know. Is it? Oh, yes, it is. It is very much indeed 42. By the way, since I missed the previous streams, I loved everything. Oh, very good. I told you you'd love it. I told everybody you would all love it. That's, to me, so far my favorite film. Yeah. I'll say it, but I think part of what I love about it too, because you probably know, but it's funny. So on Twitter, somebody asked like, hey, what are your favorite non-white YouTube filmmaker creators? And I got name dropped, and I kept looking at like, wait, I'm non-white? Like, I never thought of myself as non-white, because my dad is white, and I kind of more closely aligned to my dad. Although I can't deny the fact that I am half Asian, so I guess I am Asian. I am non-white, although I am half white. I'm not white. Although if you look at my skin, I mean, I'm pretty white. White. I don't know. Doesn't make sense. But I just do appreciate the fact that there is a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once, that was willing to take on, put Asian people in movies that you rarely ever get to see Asians. Like, how many Asians were there in Top Gun Maverick? None. I mean, I'm not tearing down the movie. I don't think I'm perfectly fine that there's no Asians in Top Gun, but they put a woman in the Top Gun. They put some black people in. Where are the Asians? Could have put one Asian in the background. Like a real horrible stereotype of an Asian guy. You come back here. You come back here, Maverick. You do not come, Maverick. Okay, I'm just doing horrible racist shit. Should not do this. Stop it, John. Oh, psh. Bad. I'll get demonetized for that. Anyhow. I guess I can do it, right? Because I'm half Asian? Anyhow. Rio says, I find it a bit too much. The everything all at once to watch it. I find it a bit too much. It is a lot of movie. Arseny says, nuance in the internet discussion, please no. CGI is bad. Practical is film. Yeah, I know. I feel, not to get too political, but like every freaking thing. Right now, it feels like the political discussion is basically, let's just ignore nuance. Let's not even talk. Let's just talk past each other. Let's not even think about nuance. Nuance doesn't exist. Nuance, no. I gotta score points. I gotta make the audience laugh if I'm on a TV show. Or applaud and cheer. That's what really matters. I can't make you think through a topic. No. We gotta get rid of nuance. CGI bad. Not to. Okay, I'll touch on it. We don't want to talk about it forever, but it goes back to a little bit to my stream where I did not like Squid Games, and those of you that are watching may remember me getting on Squid Game saying I just did not like that movie at all because I thought the violence was just gross. And so, you have a school shooting, like what happened to Uvalde, which everyone's obviously traumatized by. And then I go to the movie theater, and then I'm watching these trailers, and it's like all you people complaining about guns, but you're obviously here to enjoy this movie with lots of people shooting each other with guns. But it's like, it's not... Anyhow, I don't want to get too political. It's not, you're getting plenty of politics everywhere else you go. Today we're talking about movies. And that's my tie into movies. I'm talking about trailers. Like people that are so anti-gun violence, and yet every movie they make has guns in it. Like Alec Baldwin shooting somebody on a set. Anyhow, never mind. Okay, if you're wondering, my stance is it's not the gun. It's not the gun. People enjoy watching gunplay. Let's just be honest. It's not the gun. Anyhow, that's my point. Now in 10 minutes when I get to this part of the chat, it's just going to be like, bleh. You're gonna hate me for my opinions. All right. She thinks she'll bounce back as she embraces her infamy. You think she's going to go the Chicago route? The movie Chicago? Where she becomes an infamous, the infamous murder mistress or the infamous bed shitter, Amber Heard. She comes out and she starts doing a little dance, I just don't think Amber Heard has the charm. Like when she's on the stand, you could just, and then when you hear those recordings of her, it's like, oh my God, she just sounds horrible. Like, I'm glad I'm single. Hell, I'd rather be single than, find myself in that relationship. Yeah, anyhow. I saw EEVO. It reminded me of the Legion TV show starring Dan Stevens. Cool. I think Tony Zhao would have loved EEAO. Ramadan Bing Bang. It almost feels like it made for him, although Asian. He's also Asian, yeah. This is a Canadian child of Chinese immigrants. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Wong Kar Rao, however it's pronounced. I can't pronounce this. Wong Kar Wai influences, obviously, in EEAO. It's a genre bending kind of a film, so it obviously appeals to film buffs because it's constantly name dropping movies it's being referencing to. In a prior thread about Asians in Hollywood, it used to be all roles either went to James Hong or Suk Tik. Oh, yeah, yeah, I know. Like one or two guys that like, or Pat Moriarty, or Pat Moore, no, Pat Moore. I forget his. Guy from Karate Kid. Is it Pat Moriarty? Something like that. Pat something another. His name was Pat Mitsubishi. He wasn't. Yeah, I forget his name. You'll correct me. My brain is not quite working that well. It hasn't for a long time. What's this? Why start now? SD1138 says, I saw Top Gun in IMAX and was puzzled by why the aspect ratio kept switching throughout the movie. The movie was shot completely on the Sony Venice, so why use the IMAX ratio for the whole movie? I don't know. That's the thing. That's what really bugged me about even something like Dunkirk. I think sometimes what they do with IMAX is like, well, we shot it. We have all this information. Why don't you just put it all on the screen? Why not? I don't know exactly how Top Gun bounces between aspect ratios. I find it kind of annoying that filmmakers nowadays seem to do that a lot. Like, it bothers me. Like, just pick a lane, man. But I don't know why I guess they do it because it's like, well, we have it, we might as well show it. I was like, well, no, just do the whole thing in one aspect ratio. Anyhow, so Spielberg was right when he erased all the guns in E.T. Yeah, I know that's so lame. I'm sorry, it's just lame. Like I'm not against the portrayal of guns in movies. I'm not at all. It's just I find it hypocritical that there are people that are so anti-gun, and yet they will lovely make a movie. And then the counter argument to that always is, well, John, it's a fantasy, John. That's the difference. You don't understand the difference. It's like, well, is it? Is there a difference? And that's what I got a lot of shit for in Squid Game because people are like, well, it's fantasy. Squid Game is not real, obviously, dumbass. And I'm like, yeah, okay, it's not real, sure. All right, you want to keep saying that. I don't agree. I agree that I believe what you manifest in your imagination will manifest itself some way in your reality. That's just the way I think that's the way human experience works. Anyhow, don't want to go down that road. I want to keep it kind of light-hearted today. But we can go there, I guess, if we want to go there. How great is making a blockbuster movie starring yourself and attaching a trailer to your other blockbuster movie starring? And then, did you see I don't know if you guys saw it. Did Tom Cruise then come at the very beginning of the movie? He's like, hey guys, I'm Tom Cruise, if you didn't know that already. And we put a lot of work in this movie, so I hope you enjoy it. See you at the end. See you later. So it's like, oh yeah, remember, Tom Cruise is in it. He actually introduces the movie. Your thoughts on using Bobby Driscoll's story as a basis for villain in Rescue Rangers? I think it's fine. Like I know there's a lot of we talked about Chip and Dale last week because I really enjoyed it, but my complaint with it, just to rehash what I said, my complaint is that it leaned a little too hard into the meta jokes to the point where it won't be a classic, it won't be remembered very well because it's too meta. It doesn't have enough of original story to catch on. So the whole Bobby Driscoll controversy. If you don't know, Bobby Driscoll was the model for Peter Pan, and he was a young actor at Disney. But then when he turned like teenager and the movie came out, Disney dropped his contract because his acne got so bad that Disney couldn't afford the makeup to do it. Let's not forget, we talk about Disney now as if Disney is some powerful, amazing, oligopoly, scary eater of all other things. Disney in 1950 was not even considered a major studio. Like Disney was like a little nothing studio. It we forget how small Disney was back in those days. So if they say, they couldn't afford the makeup for him, I get it. I believe that. Did they treat him rotten? Yeah, probably, because actors didn't, they could be tossed out for nothing in that era. And maybe something else happened. Maybe Bobby Driscoll was doing something else that got him fired as well. Who knows? Who knows his whole story? So the basis of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is the bad guy is a Peter Pan character who was also let go from Disney. which I think is a fairly fine thing to do as far as a reference. I mean, it's sort of a kind of a it made me look up the story of Bobby Driscoll, and I didn't know the story before saw the controversy. So, I think artistically it's warranted and fine, and it's almost kind of a thumb at the guys that pay the bills. But you know, I don't see anything. I don't think particularly anything wrong with what they did with it, because I don't. Because on top of that, you can argue like, well, it's separate enough. It's not exactly. They didn't call him Bobby. They didn't quite go. So it's reminiscence. It's like echo of the truth, but it's not exactly the truth. All right. Taylor Slopside. Slopsicle. I can't see from that. I need my new glasses are coming here any day now. I don't mind the aspect ratio bouncing, but then again, I like Natural Born Killers School of Cinematography. Change the camera every other shot. Cool. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever seen Natural Born Killers. Hold up. What Squid Games are you talking about? I'm talking about the Squid Games. I know we're gonna get shit. I'm gonna shit on. I did not like Squid Games, like the Squid Games, the one that came out, like a year ago. And I got on stream and I said I did not like it. It became extremely pop. That video got a lot of hate views. That's like the highest rated stream because people just watched it and just call me an idiot. So, do I have a letterbox account? I do, but I never use it. Hey, Mess Lab Manufacturing Company, good to see you. What is the turning point of Disney? It became so big. It became Bob Iger leadership and acquisition. I when I was doing the studios videos, I would always want to think. I always thought I'd do Disney like really far late last because there's so much Disney stuff, right? There's so much Disney, so much stuff on the history of Disney. I think Disney probably became the mega giant behemoth probably under Eisner. It was kind of like after that second revival, the early 90s. This is my personal experience, not through any research. This is my personal experience. I think Eisner really kind of made Disney the empire, at least set it on the right track to becoming an empire. And I forget what got Disney to the point where it could start acquiring all those big properties like Star Wars and Marvel. I don't know where it was, and Pixar for that matter too. I don't remember exactly where it was. Maybe it was like toward the beginning of the Pixar acquisition. I'm not sure. But so in the example, so I have a bunch of ideas for videos I want to do, and I started writing another script last night, and it's going well. But I want to do a video about how Disney is vilified in the realm of copyright. Like, Disney is not the big bad guy of copyright that basically everyone thinks it is. Like if you Google Disney copyright extension, like there's articles and articles and articles about how Disney became so powerful they were able to legislate an extension of copyright. But here's the thing. If you go on Wikipedia and you look up that particular piece of legislation, you will see the word Disney in that article twice. And neither time does it specifically state anything particular about Disney. Because we forget that the copyright extension happened in 93. And the reality is it was two things that drove it. It was the fact that the European Union just extended copyright. So they extended copyright. So the Americans are like, how come they extended copyright? We want it too. And the real driving force behind the copyright extension was the music industry. We forget about it because in 2022, I don't think at all about the music industry. The RIAA doesn't even come to the top of my head ever, right? Because the music industry is so piecemeal and scattered to the wind at this point. Everybody has a Spotify account. Everybody, you can upload your music to SoundCloud. No one goes out and buys records anymore, really. You don't hear what the music charts, you have YouTube videos of music videos. No one cares about the music industry today. But 1993, the music industry was very powerful. Like the music industry is, because I remember back when I was a kid, we'd had our days of the original Napster and Kazaa. Like I went to college, like college was the first taste that we had as growing up as kids. Like college was the first thing. Oh my God, you have broadband? Like you can download all those songs in your playlist in like an hour. Like holy moly! At home, it take me like a day to download like an MP3. Like the music industry was super powerful, and the evidence is really all there as far as the copyright is concerned. Like who is the guy that the copyright extension? Who pushed that? Sonny Bono. Did Sonny Bono work for Disney? Well, maybe through extension through ABC. I don't know how much Disney owned of ABC at the time, but Sonny Bono is a musician. Like and the people behind, if you actually look at the legislation and you look at like the people that backed it, Disney, yes, Disney did lobby. Disney did put money in the pit, in the jar. But so did every other music. So did like Warner Brothers. So did Warner Chappell Music. All the music industry folks put money in there. Because honestly, I think the real money in copyright extension was probably in music. Because think about it. Like what do you go around watching a bunch of movies? I mean, you watch a few movies here and there, like that are old, right? But you probably pay for them, or if no one expects you to pay a lot of money for them. But how many oldie stations are there in the world? In the world, a ton of oldie stations, right? Like music from the '60s, music from the '70s. They still want to make money on that, and they still can make money. So copyright extension for music makes more sense than really for anybody else. Anyhow, I want to do a video on that. So I skipped a bunch of your head, trying to avoid all your comments. Let's go back to your comments here. Let's go back, see how far I got. Oh. So yeah, I don't think Disney is not to be blamed for copyright extension. And on top of that, I don't think copyright extension is that big an issue. Sony must have many copied rights. Sony has a lot. Yeah, CGP Grey did a famous copyright vid, and Disney does not look good in it. I hate that video. Like I revile that CGP Grey video because it's so wrong, and I feel like it's almost just as wrong today. It's even objectively wrong today because in that video he talks about how Star Wars would be better if we had more Star Wars. And like now he made that video before George Lucas sold Star Wars, so he sold. So now we're flooded with Star Wars from Disney. I mean, sure, it's one company making a bunch of Star Wars, but I've kind of I've lost a lot of interest in Star Wars because there's so much Star Wars that I just like. I don't care. I'm sorry. I hate that video, that CGP Grey. Like I've lost respect for him based on that video because the video is also very poorly researched, because the problem is copyright research is very hard to do. Like it's super hard because first of all, because copyright is a tort law, it's not a criminal law, so it gets every case becomes a matter of details. Like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. I mean, you can get the gist of it, but it comes down to details like, okay, did this happen this because of this? Anyway, copyright law is very tricky. And then the problem I have with copyright law in journalism is a lot of the journalism that was generated about copyright was put forward in 1993 during this copyright extension debate, right? And in 1993, the internet was still not really a thing, but the people that wanted freedom of information, the anti-copyright folks, were on the internet, right? Because that's where they hung out. That's where so the internet started off as a very, 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 freedom of information, libertarian kind of no copyrights at all kind of a place. So if you research anything, if you do internet research, what are you going to find? You're going to find it's going to snowball. It's built on this original freedom of information group. So if you go like something like Ars Technica, which I like, if there's a story about copyright and it's from Ars Technica, I will know immediately that it is way, way biased against copyright. Way biased against copyright. Just because I know the source. It's like, it's so unbelievably biased that I can't take it seriously. So that's why copyright is so hard to like actually research. And like one of the things if you watch I'll plug it, my copyright video, because I feel like I'm the only person that did a video about copyright that actually talked about the period between the U.S. Constitution and when we signed the Berne Convention. Why did we jump from 50 years or 2 years of copyright statuses to life of the author? How do you make that bridge? How do you bridge that gap? No one, if you read copyright from popular articles, from popular magazines and websites, you will never see what that bridge between the two are. You will never see it. Never. So you have a whole bunch of people now that say we should go back to the copyright of the U.S. Constitution because you never saw that bridge. You never saw what connecting from 1789 to 1989, 200 years. We just completely skipped that time period. What happened? Well, none of these articles tell you. Something called the Berne Convention, but no one will tell you that. Again, frame rate, copyright. One of my many, many, many pet topics. So anyhow, I'm ignoring you guys talking about stuff. Andy Handy says, can Disney survive in the future? Their core and families and kids clearly are seeing decline family structure, divorced kids watching adult stuff. Yeah, it's even worse than that because right now there is a massive conservative backlash against Disney because of what Disney did in the Florida case, right? So Disney already pissed off the conservatives, and conservatives are the ones that have families, and the families are the ones that buy Disney crap. So, I think I talked about this a long time ago, was like the worst day for a company is when they become number one. Like everyone's so afraid of Disney, but when Disney became super powerful, they have nowhere to go but down. So I don't know. I think Disney, I'm not going to shed a tear for Disney losing a bunch of money. That's fine by me, but I don't know if it's going to be as powerful as it is. Again, the media environment, we always see this. We saw this with Netflix too. Netflix was spending money like a drunken sailor, and now they're cutting back hardcore because they lost subscribers. So who knows? You got everything's nuanced, but you got to take everything kind of, and you can't buy into media hype. Like if there's anything I can tell you, I know I'm rambling at this point, but if you read a news article and you get emotionally engaged, take a step back and think, maybe I'm not fully understanding the story. Because a lot of times what happens is media is just going to print whatever makes you angry. And the titles are the worst, right? Titles will make you angry, even if the whole story has like nothing to do with it. Anyhow. Oh yeah, LimeWire. Remember LimeWire? Oh, he's LimeWire Kazaa. Yeah. Bringing back memories. Oh, so there you go. Let me put this one up here. Saw Elvis trailer in front of Top Gun. Why did a trailer for a movie about Elvis need a modern rap music play? Because it's Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann is Baz Luhrmann. It's like for the longest time I wouldn't watch Moulin Rouge because Baz Luhrmann was being freaking Baz Luhrmann. CGP Grey is generally a weird guy. He's made good videos, but then had his obsession with curing death, and I'm like, okay. I never saw the curing death part. I mean, CGP Grey, honestly, he's like one of the granddaddies of YouTube internet videos, right? Let's not kid ourselves. He kind of revolutionized the way internet, YouTube especially, kind of has that sort of nerd flavor. Like I think Nerdwriter and a lot of the nerdier kind of even me to an extent, because I tend to be more of a nerdy filmmaking channel. I'm not the what's up guys, today I'm going to be droning around the world, check it out. I'm not that dude. I'm the old nerd guy. So I think a lot of us have been influenced by CGP Grey. So I remember, Vsauce too. Hi, Michael here from Vsauce. And people would accuse me of stealing when I used to do the videos on green screen, I would always like pop up in the middle of the beginning of the video and like, oh, you're Vsauce. I'm like, yeah, I know. We're all influenced by each other. Do you think how you are feeling a Star Wars oversaturation and would be superhero or CW oversaturation soon? Because I kind of feel it too. Yeah, like Marvel, I'm kind of saturated on. Like, I haven't made a point to go and seeing Doctor Strange yet. I think I will go see it because I have the subscription to Regal, and I'm like, I haven't used this in a while. I'm paying $24 a month. I need to go see some movies. Let's go see Doctor Strange. But like, I'm not I watched one episode of Loki, and I kept seeing Owen Wilson's face, and my brain kept saying, "Oh wow," and I just couldn't take it seriously anymore. Like, I'm kind of tired of Marvel. I will watch The Boys, which comes out like tomorrow or something. The Boys, check. The Boys is a great anti superhero genre because it just makes fun of superheroes. Sorry guys, I'm really behind in your chat. Let's go forward. But I hear you. It's always a pleasure to hear your thoughts. Thank you. I hope somebody doesn't think you're perfectly allowed to think I'm an idiot. Because I'm probably stupid on a lot of things. Whatever. Do you think the Elvis movie would address his creepy relationship with Priscilla? I don't know what this creepy relationship is, so I don't know. I'm not that up on Elvis, honestly. Although I'm going to Memphis, we'll hopefully see Rick over there. But I guess Graceland's pretty close to Memphis, right? Although I don't think Graceland's going to be on my itinerary. Discovery Plus didn't learn anything from their mistakes. I don't know what happened to Discovery Plus. I forget. I didn't follow that one. Might have to work. Minnie Mouse. Get free. Yeah. Here's a good question. Why do movies get shelved? Do movies get shelved after getting completed in Hollywood? Is it the biggest industry with a lot of being... So I can't tell you from experience why movies get shelved. What happens is they get what's called development hell. Development hell is when you basically have, somebody buys a script. And so here, the secret is no one ever buys your script and then just makes your movie. I think in Hollywood these days, everyone buys your script and then the director gets attached and the director says, I like your script a lot. That's why, I love your script. I wouldn't touch a thing. But what if the main character was, instead of an actor, what if we made him a firefighter? And then what if we just changed the story? Instead of being like a coming of age story, we make it what's the word? We make it a movie about dinosaurs. So then the director basically, because they hired the director, they're paying him a lot of money. He brings his own writers, he or she, right? I'm not going to be sexist here. So they bring their own writers and they rework the script. And the studio's like, we originally greenlit this movie for like $10 million, and now you're asking for 70? I don't know. Let's bring in someone else. So they bring another director comes in. It's like, oh, that firefighting. Oh, that's a terrible boy. J. Cole. What a jerk. I want to get back to the heart of the story about the actor and the coming of age, but I want to make it animated. So then they go down this route. And so you're doing this over and over and over again, and then who knows what the hell's going on. By the time you're done the movie, the script doesn't even resemble the original script. And then maybe at that point, like the person that championed the script, the producer that worked at the studio said, I believe in this writer, I believe in the script, I believe in the story. Maybe he's moved on to something else, and now it's just sitting there. And it was like, we own the rights. And the original writer's like, yeah, but I can make it myself. No, we own the rights. We paid you a lot of money, so we'll just sit on it for a while, and then that's what happens. So I think once you actually get to the point where you're shooting a movie, then it's going to be finished, because that's when the big money, all this money they spend on writers and all that stuff, the development hell stuff, it's still peanuts compared to like what it costs to really make a movie. So that's your answer to your question. Hopefully that helps. All right. Dan Morell made a video on Chinese market for Hollywood. Movies had made $1 billion without China, and just $4 billion without China is just 4. But his research found the movies that did over $1 billion without Chinese money are. Oh, interesting. I really appreciate I was born in Taiwan, so I heard that Top Gun put the Taiwanese flag back on their jacket because, okay, I can swear now. Let me swear this. Fuck China. Fuck China. China can go fucking eat a dick, because China sucks. Although I'll buy their shit all day long, but like the actual Communist Party, fuck China. Let's just put it that way. Sorry, I'm going to be really, really obtuse and loud, But hey, I was born in a country that basically is under the shadow of military dominance for a long time, and China can go fuck themselves. Sorry, sorry about that. Sorry about that outrage. Sorry about that Chinese outrage. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Chinese government. Chinese people, amazing. Chinese government, horrible. Without Chinese money, mean movies released in China collected Chinese money. When you take away Chinese money, it still makes $1 billion, proving Hollywood could survive. Yeah, I hope Hollywood starts to realize that. And on top of that, we're gonna bend over backward for these assholes. No, fuck the Chinese government. Let's see. Simple hello for your channel. Thank you, 44. It's that he was mid-20s when she was 14. Elvis that. Oh, between Elvis and Priscilla? Oh. There's a joke. I shouldn't even tell you this joke, but I'll tell you. There's an internal joke that we have. When something like that happens, we say that Elvis is playing the long game. You know, he wasn't going to do anything. He wasn't going to do anything. Just, you know, he was just long game. Kind of like it's our horrible joke for grooming. It's like, no, I'm not doing that with those underage kids. It's like, but it's a long game. Like I want to encourage women to be strong, independent, and you know, successful women. But you know, if they grow up to be, then once they turn 25, and they're established in their career, you know, maybe they come back to and say hi to me. Long game, terrible joke. You're disgusting, John. You should be canceled immediately. Oh, Graceland is a ghetto in Memphis. That's sad to hear. Oh yeah, so Nerdwriter came from the Vlog Brothers community, where they changed everything in the style when every frame painting became. Oh, did he? Wasn't a big fan of Nerdwriter, honestly. I got in a kind of heated debate on one of his videos where he talked incessantly. I don't trust any video essayist that covers up like good analysis, but covers it with a creamy pile of poetic language. Like if you were watching a film essay and it just starts sounding like poetry, like I'm out. Like I'm not taking this seriously because you've shown me your bias is really far deep into whatever you're saying. You're not willing to look at this, at least from a nuanced point of view. You're just slobbering all over this thing. And so Nerdrotic made a video about Alfred Hitchcock and the way he directs a scene. And it bothered me in that idea because his scene wasn't a particularly interesting scene. it was a scene from North by Northwest. I mean, it's a good scene, but he was ascribing Hitchcock, like saying, "Oh, then he had his actor touch his nose." It's like, no, Hitchcock didn't do that. And I've kind of pushed back a little bit on this. There's this notion in filmmaking circles that Hitchcock, like storyboarded everything. Everything was storyboarded, minute details. And the fact of the matter is, he did not do that. And it's interesting. There is actually a story when North by Northwest came out. They actually, in the marketing of the video, after they shot the crop duster scene with the airplane, they actually created a storyboard based on the sequence that they shot. And then they marketed that with the come see the genius Hitchcock at work. And they showed the storyboard. But that storyboard was made after the film had been shot, right? So I think what's happened was, especially with Hitchcock, and I'm not against storyboarding. Storyboarding is important, and in previs nowadays is really important because CGI is so expensive. You need to know exactly what the shot looks like before you spend millions of dollars on CGI. But storyboarding, Hitchcock, and by the time he made North by Northwest, he'd made that TV show. He'd done multiple movies. He didn't need to storyboard a talking scene between two actors on a set. Like, he didn't need a story. He knew how to direct that. He knew how to shoot the appropriate coverage. You don't need to storyboard that. But anyhow, nerd writer, just like on and on about this, the precision of all this is Hitchcock really showed his genius. It's like, no, not really. You're giving way too much credit to Hitchcock. And believe me, I love Hitchcock. I'm not trying to tear the man down. I think the guy was really, really good at his craft. But I think by giving him this godlike status, we make it harder for people that are new coming in the industry thinking, well, I got to storyboard everything myself too. I got to do it exactly the way because Hitchcock did it. I got to do it that way. Like, no, you don't need to do it that way. And then, by creating these mythical figures, we make it harder for the average, the new person who might one day rise to a mythical figure himself or herself, right? We make it harder for that. So I'm against things like auteur theory. I think auteur theory is a very weak theory and a very bad approach to looking at films. Anyhow, I'm going way, way, way off the corner. I'm way behind the comments here. Let's go back to your comments. Skip ahead. Sorry, if I missed you, you can feel free to repeat your comment. Since I am Taiwanese, can you say it is... I can say it to you. World War III starts when China starts taking over Taiwan. U.S. interferes as they are obliged to protect it, starting communist countries versus democracy. And you continue on. I didn't know you're Taiwanese if my World War III prediction comes true. Remember my name. Well, I mean, you're not alone in thinking that World War III. So the problem with China... So the thing with Taiwan is there are factions in Taiwan that are actively seeking reunification. So Taiwan is also trying to use a soft power approach with China's with Taiwan. And I think, and the thing with China, which is different than like America, and colloquially the term is the United States, is China, because it's a communist dictatorship, he is not worried about re-election, at least as I understand it. They can take a long-term policy. They can say, well, you know what, we're not going to get Taiwan next year. We're not going to get Taiwan in 10 years, but we're going to slowly infiltrate Taiwan's politics. We're going to insert our own figures, and they're going to demand reunification. They want an end to this, and so we're going to do it with soft power. And eventually, they might just say, hopefully, maybe in 100 years, we take back Taiwan peacefully. We don't need to send ships, because I think an actual military invasion of Taiwan would be very costly for China. Like, not just because the United States is obligated to fight back against China, but I think because the logistics of landing troops across a strait is tough. I mean, look at Russia and Ukraine. Russia's for all intents and purposes a quagmire in Ukraine, and Taiwan would be even worse than that. So I think China's probably not going to be advancing troops. Could be wrong. Could be totally wrong. But I think China, and has always been said about China, they're willing to wait a long time. They're willing to wait a long time to get what they want. So unlike the Americans, which is like, I need it now. Elect me, and 4 more years. It's like, no, China's like 40 more years. Anyhow. I think what made Every Frame Painting great was that they realized when to stop. Yeah. I do respect that. Absolutely do respect, because I feel like they were starting to go down the route of a nerd writer and just make bullshit. Because I think right when Every Frame Painting stopped is they made this video about music in movies, and they made some very sweeping generalizations. And they actually had the next video. They actually had to recount because somebody else made a video that was countering like every point that Tony Zhao was making. And I think what realized, this is my own personal take. I don't know. Obviously, he has his own job. He became successful and wanted to do other things, which I totally understand because I've done that myself. I no longer make the same kind of videos I used to. That people were looking to Every Frame of Painting to come up with just brilliant insights into films and brilliant sweeping. That if you were to make a small video, make a small topic, it wouldn't do as well. So the pressure, I think, was always like, oh, this has got to be the greatest thing. And I feel like it's hard to do that when you have that pressure. It's hard not to bend to that. So I felt like they were trying to reach. That could be. I mean, I'm probably completely wrong. He just had other stuff he wanted to do more, and that's what he ended up doing. I feel that Hitchcock changed a bit the appearance of inspectors in his films after the Clouseau. Maybe, yeah. Uh, oh, Nerd Writer is bad and all, but you can get worse like Filmento or Critical Drinker. I kind of like Critical Drinker because I mean, I won't take everything he says as gospel. Never take anything anybody says on anything about filmmaking as gospel. But I feel like Critical Drinker at least has kind of got a little sense of humor about it. You know, like, oh, that's all I got now. Go away. You know, that ending to me is a little bit more entertaining. And I kind of agree with a lot of what he says. Although, you know, he Critical Drinker obviously takes a much more of a populist approach to movie analysis. Like he's looking at it from a popular standpoint, whereas I feel like what I approach more is from a filmmaking standpoint, from a story. And again, also Critical Drinker is also an author, so he has a few books out there. So he's at least in the realm of actually writing fiction. Harry Henry says, ironically, part of what makes directors like that and Hitchcock great is they were just great filmmakers on a technical storytelling level, not any sort of pretentious film school level. Good point. Yeah, they just know how to tell a story and make the story interesting. They had a good approach to things. And he abused Blonde. Yeah, maybe. It's hard to say. You know, it's hard to say what. It's hard. It's always, you know, you apply your 2022 glasses at the way they treated women back in those days and the way women treated each other. I mean, you know, like how much did the blondes play the game as well? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the CCP, but it's because of them. China is hugely developed and is now superpower taking over the U.S. itself. If not CCP, this would have never happened if China was democracy with elections. That's true. You know, they may not have been able to accelerate their growth as much as they could have had they been more of a democratic, libertarian sort of government. You know, the kind of forced. But then again, what's going to happen when all those people get rich? You know, when you have 1.1 billion people who are now no longer at the poverty level, they're gonna demand some rights sooner or later. It's not gonna be pretty. What do you think of the NC-17 rating and the new Marilyn Monroe film? Ooh, kind of make me want to see it. That's good advertising, isn't it? I have no idea why it's. I mean, just because Marilyn's really showing some full frontal nudity or something. I don't know. I wonder if the NC-17 rating is probably good marketing for that movie because, look, if you're under 17, you're probably not going to want to watch a Marilyn Monroe movie. So it's going to be like horn dogs like me that are basically under this facade of a general nice gentleman. The creepy guy is like, I want to see what the NC-17 rating means on this Marilyn Monroe movie. It's going to get some Jack Kennedy action here. Anyhow, I think it probably feels like it's marketing, but it's effective. Can my friend get him a glass of water and broth? I'm not sure. Try. I read yours out of context. I was a little kid at Goodwill Games. Taiwanese baseball players played nuts out. Nice. Taiwanese are a good group of people. Can you quote me on that? You probably can, but unless it'll get me canceled, then please don't. I'm just joking. I gotta live with whatever I say on these damn streams, so it is what it is. Repeat my question. Does future of film is AI making everything from script to film itself a full CGI technology is crazy day? Nah. No, because I don't really care what AI thinks. Like, have you seen those? I know, and I realize AI is getting better. AI is getting better. Have you seen those paintings done by AI where they you feed it something and the AI creates a painting? Or there's a program out there where I think you type in like certain keywords, like type in dog, like honeydew, and airplane, and it'll paint you a painting based on those three words, and it always looks bizarre and terrible. Like I don't think the thing is I don't think AI. I don't think AI. I'm not that interested in what AI has to say. I'm interested in what people have to say. So, unless it comes up with an AI that is interesting enough to warrant listening to, which maybe happen, who knows? Like if they came up with Data might be fun to watch a movie directed by Data from Star Trek, obviously. But I just don't. I don't see technology slipping that way. Art is a function of humanity. Now, of course, maybe we get to the point where AI becomes humanity. AI becomes sentient enough that it literally becomes a class of existence that we are not familiar with. Maybe at that point we would care, but at this point now. Aruch Chakra says China won't wait long. They will attack before 2050. A CCP timeline completes after 2050, so they will attack and not expand many countries as possible, as they are not being elected again. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't think. Because also remember too that Taiwan is sort of the brother of China, so it would be. And if you attack. And if you wonder that too, because China doesn't really recognize Taiwan. So if China attacks Taiwan, does that mean they recognize Taiwan? Maybe. I mean, yeah, if China attacks Taiwan, it would be in their eyes a civil war. So, what? Yeah, I don't know. Funsky, Is it that time of the? Is that time of the? What's your take on Johnny Depp winning the defamation? We talked a little bit earlier. I didn't get too much into it. I don't know the details of Johnny Depp. I mean, I followed a little bit, but I didn't follow it too closely. Seems like I was afraid that it would get hung up on a technicality. I think Johnny Depp should have won because that Amber Heard, ooh, she's a bad influence on him. He's not a good guy either, but she's bad. I watched a lot of porn since I was a young teen. That's a comment we're gonna definitely make sure we put that on that list of things for John to read. We'll skip that talk for later. Thoughts on Nick Kerr getting casted for Oppenheimer? I don't know who Nick Kerr is, so no thoughts on that. How is the U.S. accepting Anna? Oh, that's right. Anna de Armas is in Maryland. Well, if it's NC-17, then I'm definitely going to see it. Anna de Armas is, oh my God, she's amazing. So how is the U.S. accepting Anna? Because U.S. loves Anna de Armas. We all love her. We loved her in Knives Out. We loved her in Blade Runner 2041. Everyone loves her. I don't think anybody that thinks she's not just amazing talent. People accepted Daniel Day-Lewis, British as Lincoln, but he is white. I think we gotta get over the fact. We gotta get past the fact that you, as an actor, you can play somebody that you're not. So like a straight man can play a gay man can play a straight man. That's perfectly okay. I think that's the way. And Anna de Armas, she's proven herself to be very much enjoyed by a lot of people. I don't want it to sound too dirty. All right, it's not too dirty. And she's a good actress. She really is. She's also very, very cute. Very, very hot. I would understand on censoring games and movies in a region, but in the case of Devotion, they removed the game from everywhere. Like, forget China. Not even a person in any countries can play Devotion. I don't know anything about Devotion. I have to look into that. If you want an artsy picture, you can let Lori helmet. All right, very good. Hollywood has abandoned numbering some sequel titles. What can we do to bring them back? Well, you too can solve this problem. All right, I don't, Yeah, it's getting harder to confuse. Like, I'm telling my friends, like, you know what? That Suicide Squad sequel, that was really good. Oh, yeah, what's the name of that Suicide Squad movie? Oh, it's called The Suicide Squad. Isn't that the first movie? No, that movie is called Suicide Squad. No, I'm talking about The Suicide Squad. Far superior movie. Oh, did they reboot it? No, it's a continuation of the original movie. So it's Suicide Squad 2. No, it's called The Suicide Squad. All right. Oh, that's the devotion had the Winnie the Pooh drawing. That's I think I saw a little bit of that. Oh, really? Damn China, dude. Come on, I want some Winnie the Pooh action. Winnie the Pooh. Stupid freaking Xi Ping. Is it Xi Ping? Is that his name? Or is it Shay? She. Yeah, she. Never mind. Anyhow. Yeah, isn't the whole point of being an actor to pretend being something other than what you are? And I think that's also one of the, and probably ended up because it is getting late. Oh my God, 7:30. It's getting late. The function, and I heard somebody quote Roger Ebert recently that movies are an empathy machine. Like that's what's amazing about movies is we go to the movies and we go to the movies to watch flickering screens that create emotion. That's their only function is to create emotion. That's what all movies do is emotion. They're an empathy machine. And part of the filmmaking process is finding how to manipulate the audience and create those emotions. And I think what's great about acting too is a great actor can find the empathy in the characters that they're playing. They can you don't have to necessarily agree with Thanos' philosophy on life, right? But you can empathize with it. You can understand the character. So for an actor, let's say to play, let's use a basic one for a straight man to play a gay man, like that creates the empathy, to especially if you're playing it like seriously. The empathy, the connection to somebody else's shoes. It's the whole point of arts. That's the whole point of theater, of movies, is to create that empathetic connection. So if we're getting to the point where we say, well, you can only play gay if you're gay. If you only play straight if you're straight. You can only play, funny if you're funny. If you can only play, we limit ourselves. And that's not the point. That's a small way of looking at the world. It really is. Yeah, Silvo says the empathy machine. That's quoting Roger Ebert, who I oftentimes disagree with, but in this case, he's absolutely right. Roger Ebert. Anyhow, I love Hong Kong LGBTQ cinema, but I feel once China takes over that certain, yep. Don't expect to see a lot of LGBTQ film out of Hong Kong now that Winnie the Pooh's involved. Oh, did I get demonetized by saying he's Winnie the Pooh? Never mind. You can only play a serial killer if you've a serial killer. Come on. Army Hammer says hi. There are serious gays. There are a couple serious gay people. Some are a little bit flighty, but some are not. They come in all shapes and colors. Every shade of the rainbow. Anyhow. Now, on that note, I'm going to get canceled. I'm done for. Next week, I will be going to Memphis to check out Tennessee. We'll see Rick over there. And I haven't, because I've never been to that part of the country. I really want to go. We're going to go to Memphis for a day. We're actually going to do a layover in Vegas first, because, why not? If you're going to do a layover, Vegas is the place to do it. We'll be in Memphis, and we're going up to Kentucky to see my friend who just moved there, and then we're going back down to Nashville. Spend some time in Nashville, so probably won't be on the stream next week. Maybe we'll see if we can get some internet connection there. But that's it. That's all I have for today. I've been on for a while now, haven't I? It's been a while. I've been rambling for a long time. Rambling John, getting himself in trouble with probably everybody. Let's see, how long have I been on here? Come on, drag the clip over. All right, gotta drag it over. I've been on for. Good Lord, how long have I been on? 5:45? Oh, it's almost an hour and a half. Okay, well, that's not too bad. All right, guys. One last look at your chats. We have internet in Tennessee. Good to hear. Good to hear. I was a little worried about that. You got some time between installing that moonshine and flush toilets. I'm not messing with you. I'm just messing with Tennessee. Yeah, don't say Xi Jinping looks like Winnie the Pooh. Don't say it. Depp plays Johnny Depp in the new movie, and Kate Moss plays Amber Heard. All right, guys. Uh, you're missing a point. Chinese people look at Taiwanese as bros, but CCP doesn't look at them like that. Yeah, I think that was the point I was trying to make too. I think we were referring to the other guy. Yeah, it would be a civil war essentially. It would totally be a civil war. All right. Anyhow, I am going to take off. I'm going to go finish up some stuff, and go home and have some dinner and take it easy. You guys should do the same. If you're not at home already, go home. Go home. All right, guys. I'll see you later if I can figure out how to turn this thing off. Let me do it cleanly here. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.